If you've been listening to the pod, you know I'm marking my calendar for the big sale from Last Bottle Wines, one of our wonderful sponsors. If you don't already know, they're a Napa-based online wine shop that offers 30 to 70% off retail. And the best part, there's no subscriptions, no fees, and no minimum purchase, just a daily email with really great wine. And as I mentioned, they're having a massive sale. Their marathon sale is coming up on March 28th and 29th. They flip that one wine per day rule on its head and instead offer back-to-back, two-back deals. That means wines are only up on the site for a couple minutes at a time. We got a preview order with the mini marathon package of some of their favorites, and I'm telling you, it's a sale you want to get in on. And the best part is we're offering Dateable listeners 10% off your first order with code DATEABLE. Sign up at lastbottlewines.com and use the code DATEABLE and find out why Last Bottle is the most fun way to discover and buy amazing wine. We are so thrilled to be partnering with Hinge. Hinge is the dating app designed to be deleted. As you all know, I'm a huge Hinge advocate as I met my partner of almost 3 years on the app. Even before meeting him, Hinge was always my go-to app because I met more relationship-minded people here and had some great dates. Clearly, I haven't been on the app for a little while, but I re-downloaded it to check out some of the new features. One that stood out to me was the voice prompt, my best friend's take on why you should date me, where your friend can hype you up. Not only does this make the profile creation less daunting, but it's not always easy to see your own green flags. So to test it out, I asked Yue some fun prompts to get her take on what I could put if I was dating again. So the first one, how long have we known each other? What was your first impression of me and how has that changed?
Julie and I have known each other for almost 10 years. My first impression of Julie was that she's very social, but I've learned that she has a lot more depth to her beyond the social butterfly that she is.
My next prompt, what do you think are my green flags?
I would say she's deeply loyal. She believes in love, curious mindset, and she is fearlessly ambitious.
And then last but not least, what kind of friend am I?
Julie is the kind of friend who will always have your back, no matter what.
Damn, that feels nice to hear. So download Hinge and try voice prompts today. Then find someone worth deleting the app for.
Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Krafchick.
We're active daters turned dating sociologists.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to the Dateable Podcast. Brunchables, welcome to Brunch Talk by the Dateable Podcast, where we talk and grub at the same time and dive into all of your dating questions, all the dating conundrums that you may be facing.
I feel like I can't think about brunch the same way anymore. Like now I just think about dating questions. I'm going to a birthday brunch for one of our friends this weekend, and I'm just like, oh, what dating advice do I have to give out? And I'm like, none, because they're all married with kids. So I'm off the hook. Yay.
Or you can just turn on an episode of Brunch Talk and just play it for them.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm here. Here you go.
Brunch time is really therapy time.
Yeah.
I found a new brunch spot that I really like near me because we've talked about this. I don't like normal brunch food. I don't like eggs. I don't like toast. None of that.
I'm still very surprised by this, even though I've gone to brunch with you 1,000 times.
It's not something I look forward to, right? It's fine. I'll eat it, but it doesn't excite me. But I did find a new brunch place that has more interesting dishes that are beyond eggs and toast and bacon and all of that stuff. I do get excited about brunch now, and I try to do that with my partner, but it's like this is renewed. I'm a born again bruncher, you know? I was
born again bruncher. I love it.
I was shying away from it before. Now I realize I just need the right food to get me excited.
I think I'm like on the brunch decline. You know, I used to go to brunch a lot, but I don't really do it anymore. So this weekend is big for me that I'm going. But do you remember that Filipino place that we used to go to that is no longer exists? That place was so good. I agree, though. I find it difficult when it's just eggs because I'm like, I can make this at home.
Yeah.
It needs to be a little more unique.
Yeah. Throw some gold flakes on it or something. I don't know. Give me some ube. I'll be happy with that. that.
Fancy.
But don't just let it be eggs. Yeah, that's so boring. I do know people who really just love the basic brunch stuff, even if they can't make it at home. I think it's like comforting. It's like comfort food, right?
Yeah.
So I get it. No judgment. You do you.
I will say I am a sucker for good hash browns. So if a place can do hash browns, even though it's something I can do too, I'm all for it.
I do like hash browns. That does sound very good.
Well, we're making everyone hungry now, so we might as well dive into what we're really here for.
No.
The good stuff.
No, we keep talking about hash browns. Come on. This is what the show is about, hash browns. Question for this week. How can you tell when someone is serious about you?
And for more context, our listener wrote in and they said, I have been seeing someone for 10 months. They call me their girlfriend. I've met his parents. I've met his best friends. However, when we're not together, we barely text and we typically only see each other one time a week. And we've actually never spent a full weekend together. Is this serious?
If I'm going to diagnose the situation, I would say that this sounds like the product of someone who doesn't have much relationship experience, who feels like as long as you give each other the labels, you meet the right people in each other's lives, boom, you're in a relationship, done. And sounds like for you, our listeners, you want something more. A relationship means much more than just the labels. I don't want to undermine this person's seriousness about you because we don't know, but this is up to you to communicate what an ideal relationship would look like and what being serious means to you. The onus is not just on your partner, but it's also on you to help drive this relationship.
I think it's so funny that we want to define the relationship so much, but we never define what a relationship actually is.
Yes.
We all have an idea in our head, and we assume our idea is what everyone else's idea is. So I agree with you. Like, we can't judge the seriousness of this person. It sounds like to me that no communication is happening at all. So the first step is to talk to your partner. What is it that you need? Or maybe the first step before you even talk to your partner is to reflect on what your needs are in a relationship. I remember being in relationships before my current one that it still felt like we were living two separate lives. Even though agreed, like we had the label of boyfriend, girlfriend, and we took other steps, but we felt very on our own pages. And in this current relationship I'm in, I feel very intertwined with my partner. And I actually realized after my ex that I needed someone that I was living a life with. And that actually went into one who I found attractive when we were dating, and then also finding someone that equally shared that vision. So I think it's about getting clear of what does a relationship actually mean to you, first and foremost. What are your needs in one, and then communicating it out.
Absolutely. We all have such different definitions of what a relationship is and what it means to us. I remember living with someone for 8 months and having that label of boyfriend, girlfriend. And I think I talked about this on a previous episode. I went away for a month and we didn't even text or call each other.
Yeah.
Looking back, it was just a skeleton of a relationship, but we never filled in the foundation of what that is. The question then I would challenge you is not how can you tell if someone's serious about you, is how can you build your ideal relationship with someone? And that will help you get your answer of whether someone is serious about you or not.
It's either that this person is clueless or they have a very different ideal of what a relationship is than you are. So you're going to have to see, can you meet in the middle somewhere that feels good for both of you? Or maybe they're just totally unaware. They think that this pace is what you want. You don't have no idea until you talk to them. If that's the case, then the communication could just open them up to be more forthcoming with their time and spend more time with you. Maybe for whatever reason, they think that you want to do this once a week thing and don't want your independence in the downtime. If that's the case, then it's a very easy solve if you want more time together. If that's not the case and this person actually does need more alone time or they want more independence in a relationship, then it becomes a negotiation of what can work for the two of you. And if you can't find something that works, then you have to evaluate, is this the partnership I want? Even though I have all the labels, is this ultimately what's going to make me happy?
And we're so focused on getting the labels in modern dating.
Oh, yes.
I want the label that this is a commitment. I want to meet the parents. I want to meet the best friends. I want to go on vacations together. Sure, all of those feel like milestones. But I think in a true relationship that's constantly growing and evolving, that's just the beginning, honey. That's not a milestone yet. You're just scratching the surface of what a relationship could look like.
I agree. You want all those things. I feel like if you didn't have those, then there would probably be a question like, why haven't I met the friends? Why haven't I met the parents? So we always want it all, and we deserve it all too, and we should get it all. But I do think that stuff almost doesn't matter if you're feeling lonely or unfulfilled in the relationship.
Yeah.
Like, who cares if you've met their parents if you're feel like you never even see this person.
Right.
So I think maybe you don't feel unfulfilled. Our guess is that you don't feel 100% though, or you wouldn't be writing this in to us.
And the other question to ask yourself is, are you serious about them? You can't control how someone acts towards you, but it sounds like it's a time to reevaluate your feelings towards this person. Do you want to be serious about them? How are you showing that you're serious about them? It's a two-way street here. And we keep talking about the same point a lot, but it is so important to know that in dating, we don't need to convince someone or try to persuade someone to like us or to be with us. It's a two-way street. And if you feel like you're in the dark about how your partner feels about you, that's a major red flag. And that calls for open communication. Like, I don't feel good about this. You know, I'm uncomfortable with the time we're not spending together, yet we have these labels. I like to get more clear on what we're trying to build here. What are we trying to create?
I want to go into like times, Yue, that you felt like maybe things were more serious, and now in retrospect, you could see that they weren't. But before we do, let's take a quick break for a few messages.
This episode is sponsored by Via. We all know there are things that can help set the mood in the bedroom, but did you know a little THC could also do that? Yes, Via has developed a unique blend of pleasure-enhancing cannabinoids, libido-strengthening herbs, and a low dose of THC all into one mind-blowing gummy called High Love. This gummy, wow, it will awaken your senses, increase blood flow, and intensify any sexual experience. I've been pleasantly surprised by the High Love gummies because it is just the right amount of THC for me to have a good time without feeling sleepy. And hey, if THC is not your thing, Via also offers a wide array of other gummies without it. And everything legally ships in 50 states with discreet packaging directly to your door. So if you're over 21, you can get 15% off and a free pack of award-winning Dreams THC plus CBN sleep gummies with our exclusive code DATEABLE at viahemp.com. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Let the gummies work their magic. Head to viahemp.com and use the code DATEABLE to receive 15% off and one free sample of their Sleepy Dream gummies. That's viahemp.com and use the code DATEABLE at checkout. Take your passion and pleasure to a whole new level with High Love from Via Hemp. This episode is made possible by Armoire. Armoire makes getting dressed easy. With a clothing rental membership from Armoire, build the perfect wardrobe with brands that are high quality, unique, and recommended just for you. All you have to do is take a 5-minute style quiz and select items from your dynamic, personalized closet. The styles show up at your door in as little as 2 days. Then when you're ready for new clothes, just swap them out. Listen, I live in Southern California. There is absolutely no need for puffer coats or any sort of those winter jackets. But when I travel anywhere else in the world in these cold months, I'm often burdened with the task of getting winter clothes. And now with Armoire, I can just rent my winter wardrobe. It's brilliant. Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/dateable. That is armoire.style, spelled ARMOIRE.style/DATEABLE to get up to 50% off your first month. and never worry about what to wear again. Try Armoire today.
Living with ADHD can be a challenge, and dating with ADHD is definitely a challenge, we've heard many of you say. But finding the right care and proper tools needed to succeed can be life-changing. Done is an online ADHD care platform that can get you all the resources you need to help manage your ADHD. Online visits, refills, and a 24/7 care team made for you. In just 1 minute, Done's online assessment can help kickstart your ADHD treatment journey. With experienced clinicians, worry-fill refills, and online visits, you can start getting personalized care as soon as today or tomorrow. So contact an expert team that can help you around the clock and get a personalized treatment plan just for you. Here's how you do it. Take a free 1-minute assessment and book an appointment with a licensed ADHD clinician as soon as the next day. Get continuous care, one-click refills, insurance coverage, and 24/7 care team support with Done for just $79 a month, and pharmacy copays as low as $0. Visit get.donefirst.com/podcast to learn more. That's get.donefirst.com/podcast to learn more. Done. Turn ADHD into your strength.
So I'm thinking back, and I feel like the L word is a big one that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not saying like you don't want to hear that. Of course you want to hear that. But I remember my ex saying this, and I gave it a lot of weight, and there was weight to be had. I felt it too, and it was important. But I think it made me think the relationship was more serious than it was, and overlook some of the times where he wasn't actually showing up in a way that a partner that was a true partner would, because I was holding onto this, oh, well, he loves me, so this must be moving in the direction I want, and things will all work out because he loves me. So I think I've given a lot of weight to the L word. Again, not saying it doesn't like require any weight, but I think it doesn't make up for everything else either.
It doesn't just stop at the L word. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like once you say, I love you, it shows that you're committed to keep evolving with this person. But it's not like your work is done. We're good now. We can just let this coast because we love each other. Because guess what? Love does not conquer all, as we found out.
No, it doesn't.
Unfortunately. Yes. But I guess that's a good thing. Love is earned. You have to work towards it.
Yeah.
I've definitely read into situations a lot in the past, like my quote unquote New York love, where he sat me next to his dad at a movie screening. And I was like, ooh, I'm meeting the dad. And he's probably like, oh, this is like the only open seat I have left. Right. And then him bring his best friend to my birthday party. I was like, oh, I'm going to meet the best friend already. But meanwhile, his best friend was like single and didn't have anything to do. He just wanted his best friend to hang out. I think it's okay to allow yourself the fantasy of like what's going on, because it feels good to think about that.
Yeah.
But it's also good to like bring it back to reality and confirm some of those thoughts before you make those full jumps.
Yeah.
I did that, and I definitely set myself up for ultimate heartbreak and disappointment.
I think you've raised a really good point, is friends and family mean very different things to different people.
Yeah.
Some friends of mine introduce everyone they date to their family. I can think of one friend off the top of my mind that has probably introduced 10 partners to her parents, and some of them never to be seen ever again after they are introduced. That's okay, because to her, it doesn't hold a lot of weight. It's more like, oh, my parents are chill. They're chill. Let's all hang out. Where for me, I've introduced one person to my parents, my current partner. It's like a big deal for me. So I think that's a really good point. Like your comment about, oh, his best friend was just looking to meet other single people, that has nothing to do with your relationship at all. It's purely this person was free and they're coming along. We definitely attach a lot of meaning sometimes when it's not always there.
And maybe we can dive into that. Is what are some signs that you think are pointing towards a serious relationship that are actually misleading? So what I can think of is when someone is taking initiative to book dates and taking initiative to plan vacations, yet at the same time, they don't take your suggestions. They don't take into account your schedule. You're just along for the ride because they already made the itineraries. To you, you're like, wow, that's so great. They really want to spend time with me. They're taking initiative. But you got to step back and be like, am I interchangeable in this situation? I could be anybody, right?
Yeah, they're either super rigid.
Yeah.
Or I think I dated someone back in the day that was always on his terms. And I believe, looking back in retrospect, because he defined the relationship with someone else that ended up being his now wife around the same time that I was dating him, I think he was keeping it on a schedule on purpose because that's how you date multiple people sometimes. And I think you think like, oh, this person's they're just so driven and they're putting me first by thinking about my needs. Same for texting. I remember, and I love to text, and I love when someone also loves to text, but I remember dating someone, a guy that we had on this podcast. Remember the first date in 12 years? I was his first date.
Of course I do.
After, in the archives for anyone that missed that episode. That was fun when we would go on dating experiments and hear the feedback live.
We can still do it for the podcast, okay? Our partners will understand.
Yeah, I'm sure the people that were dating would love that. They're like, okay, so we're purely subjected for a podcast and you already have a partner? Great.
Sign me up.
This guy, though, he was always texting, but I could feel that it didn't feel genuine. It felt like he was just lonely. And that doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah, it's like how you interpret it. And everyone has like different types of behavior. It could also be some people really want to be in a relationship, right? And they want to like show their friends and family they're in a relationship. So they put the labels on really fast. They do the introductions really fast. Yeah. They're very aggressive in the beginning, but then they don't think about, do I actually want to be in a relationship? What does it mean to be in a relationship? We've definitely seen this happen with people where it's like the love bombing happens really early on. I had a girlfriend who finally started dating her crush of many years. This guy finally came around and was like, yes, I think I'm attracted to you. So they shared a kiss. He said, I love you within like 2 months. He bought her like a diamond necklace.
Oh, God.
He introduced her to his family and then poof, he was gone right after. He was actually mending from a heartbreak himself. Right. He had been in a really long-term relationship. He just wanted to fill in another girlfriend into that role. And she happened to be the roadkill along there. But to her, it meant so much. This crush she had been waiting for years. To him, she was just another passenger on his relationship train. And he kind of dropped her off when she didn't want to be dropped off.
This is why it's so complex, right? Is everyone's going through their own shit. And not to say, I don't want this listener to be like, shit, this guy's not into me at all.
I know.
After we said all that. He might very well be. We just don't know. I think what we're trying to say is that sometimes the signs aren't always signs.
Yeah.
And the only way to know is, one, to trust your instincts and gut. I know that's not super actionable, but I do believe like we know when someone's being genuine or trying versus not. Deep down, I feel like I've gotten into trouble when I've tried to be like, oh yeah, that's not happening. But deep down, I did know.
Yeah.
Did not listen to my gut in any way. Justified bad actions.
Uh-huh.
But then also, even if you don't know, how do you just open the dialogue so you have a conversation and you can hear from them what a relationship means to them, what they are looking for in the future? I think a lot of times we're afraid to have these conversations, but it doesn't mean that you have to do all this stuff tomorrow. But it's giving you line of sight into where you want to go as a couple. And if you find out that you're wildly incompatible, wouldn't you rather know now than in another year, 2 years, 3 years?
It's so crazy that people are so scared to scare people off. So they don't want to have these conversations. But if you're scaring someone off by stating your needs, then you scared off the right people. That is okay.
Yes.
Wouldn't you rather do that than like wait 2 years to find out this person was not compatible for you? I agree. You got to just get that out early. But there is a way to deliver this kind of conversation. And I think in this situation, always start with the things that you love about what's happening.
Yeah.
I really love that I've met your parents. I love that we are, official as a couple. I love that you're planning our next vacation. I would also love it if we spent more time together. I will love it if we could spend a weekend together.
Yeah.
Go from there, go from a growth point of view, like we can grow into this versus like, why haven't we talked about this? And what are we really doing here? It puts people on the defensive.
Yeah.
And sometimes they may not even know what your point is because they're like too busy defending themselves.
That's a really good point. The last thing we want people to take away from this episode is ignore all the sides that you think are good sides and assume the worst in every way.
Yeah.
Definitely are not saying that. And I love the idea of focusing on the good stuff because, of course you do want to take the steps that you're taking. Even if they end up being not compatible for you, still moving in that direction is a good thing, and sharing that you like that because that is ultimately what you want. You might just want someone that gives you a little more as well.
So alignment, again, communication. It's always the same theme. I love this nuanced question. It's like, I am getting all the external markers of someone being serious with me, but I don't feel internally that they're serious with me. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great that you're checking in with your gut, and there's always a solution to get you out of this conundrum.
And think about what your ask is too.
Yeah.
That's really important. Like maybe the ask isn't, I need you to be more serious about me, but it's, can we talk in the middle of the week when we're not together?
Yes.
Can we spend a weekend together? Can we see each other 2 times a week instead of 1 time a week? Whatever your ask is, I have made the mistake before that I've gone into conversations without an ask, and then it just becomes defensive and you're doing this and not this, and it's not productive in any way.
Yes, absolutely. If your ask is, I want you to show more commitment towards me, the next question to ask yourself is, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Even on a day-to-day level, what does it look like if someone were to show more commitment to you, show that they're more serious about you? It's a very good question to ask ourselves.
That's a really good point. Bringing it full circle to the whole thing at the beginning is that we just throw out these words like relationship, commitment.
Yeah.
But if we don't go deeper on what the actual definition is, it's just this vagueness that's up for interpretation.
Yes. And you don't want that. That's never a good start to a relationship. All right.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we unpacked this one.
Yeah. It's
a lot of people probably have been there before.
Very good question. Love that question. So that wraps up this week's Brunch Talk. We're always going to be hungry. Brunch will always be around. So we'll be back next week, too, with another episode. Send us your questions. You can email us hello@dateablepodcast.com, or you can tag us on Instagram @dateablepodcast, or DM us there, too. We read all the questions and we try to answer all of them.
Yep. And we'll see you next week.
Bye. The Dateable Podcast is part of the Frolic Media Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram @dateablepodcast and visit dateablepodcast.com for access to all the episodes and our premium programs. Also, make sure to subscribe today if you haven't already on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform, so you are the first to get all the latest episodes. And most importantly, stay dateable.